Hi, I'm Josanne Wright Callender, the author of the Happy Little Garbage Truck Picture Book and Educational Program. Now, this program teaches literacy skills as well as social skills. And because we're looking at social skills as far as how to build a child's self esteem, we're looking at how to create a positive mindset. And because that is the foundation of a healthy self esteem. Um, Self esteem is how one feels about oneself and feeling good about oneself. So we have to kind of look at ways to guide a child into that real healthy mindset because with a healthy mindset, they're able to achieve all sorts of academic and social activities and goals and skills. So I thought about my talk yesterday. We were talking about the London cabbies and how the brain actually changes from the activities that these cabbies were doing, such as looking at historical sites, finding out how the city streets were the grid of the London area, and it actually changed their brains. And so I wanted to look at that a little more closely today. And I found out that a thought is an electrochemical event in the nerve cells. And this is the beginning of what changes that hippocampus in the London cavities. They're thinking constantly about remembering and repetition how those streets were aligned, and it built their spatial memory and I believe, visual memory. So I found an article, How Thoughts Program Your Cells, which I thought was fascinating, and I'm including a link to several of the articles that I've used for this particular conversation. And in this example, I couldn't resist doing a very rough sketch of what I found happen and how thoughts program your reprogram your brain because it changes the nerve cells through this electrochemical event. So first of all, a cell, there are thousands of receptors on each cell in our body, thousands, and each receptor is specific to one peptide or protein. And that might sound a little bit chemically complicated, and it was, believe me, to me too. But when we have feelings of sadness, anger, guilt, excitement, nervousness, gratitude, love, um, each emotion actually releases its own flurry of neuropeptides. And so these neuropeptides, and this is my little card, so these neuropeptides surge through the body to connect with one of those receptors that I talked about on the cell. And depending on how many cells are in the, how many receptors are exposed to those chemicals that are surging through the body, it will connect with the cell and change the structure of the cell as a whole. So this cell had a surge of more joyful peptides surging through the body than the negative one, and the positive peptide connected with the cell itself. And so the article went on to say that it changes the structure of the cell so that when the cells divide, if it's been exposed to more of a certain peptide and protein than others, then that new cell, this is like a really rough sketch, will have receptors, more receptors that match that specific peptide. So we matched it with a positive emotion, and so the cell will divide with more of the receptors for that positive emotion. And so that's in a nutshell. The cell also will have, I forgot to mention, will have less receptors for the peptide that it's not exposed to as much. So that is it in a nutshell. What I thought was an interesting point from these articles is that the importance of bombarding ourselves with these positive emotions became more clear to me through this example. If we have more gratitude, love, appreciation, kindness, mindfulness, and limit those negative emotions, our cells will be building more receptors for those positives. So, one other thing that I found in this article is that our bodies actually have every cell in our body is replaced every 2 months. So we can actually reprogram the pessimistic cells by adopting positive thinking habits like mindfulness and gratitude for lasting results. So that's a really crude way of explaining it, but I hope you understand better as I did that the importance of just kind focusing our minds on positives, which is why the positive affirmations are so important. So next week we're going to go into more of the affirmations themselves. Well, this week was pretty much looking at how does this actually work. So now that we can get into the actual affirmations, we will go into it knowing that these are important and they work. So we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.